to episode 36 of the CopTalk podcast. I'm once again joined by nobody except for Jim. So what's up, Jim?
This one would be called the Perfect 36.
Is it?
Mainly because Mark and Ed aren't here, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's perfect.
So basically...
I wasn't thinking of anything else.
Basically, we've been totally deserted.
Not really.
Oh, so you're really saying that the only true two people that hold the show together are us?
I'm thinking you got the A team tonight, and then when the others are here, you're mixed in with the B team. So Perfect 36.
It's like A and B shift.
Yep.
Well, if those guys do show up, we'll add them in. But at this rate, I think they're both totally not going to. I guess we. I think
Mark's turning in aluminum cans. It's his last day of vacation, and he's trying to supplement there. And who knows what Ed's doing? Ed's probably
shooting machine guns.
Talking his way out of being in custody. Yeah,
yeah, or shooting.
Maybe he's riding
guns.
a Honda somewhere, and maybe he's with the Iron Maidens doing their toenails or something. I don't know.
The Iron Maidens. Oh, that's just wrong. All right, so what do you want to do? Since we have a pile of notes, we might as well just do whatever we want, no?
You know, I don't know what Mark was going to talk about. Usually he comes up with the oddest stories you could ever imagine, but why don't we we'll save that for Mark and take some of the readers' questions, and we'll answer them the best we can with the two of us.
Yeah, that sounds good. Since we're both not lawyers, it's going to be difficult on some of these, but we can always defer to the legal department, who is definitely
if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, baffle them with
BS.
I forgot how that saying goes, but I saw it on a bumper sticker. But we'll do that.
Well, we got a few. We got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, so we might as well just run through them and see what the heck we can do. So the first one is going to be, this is actually pretty good. If the police break down your door, do they have to pay for it? That's a good question. Have you broken down any doors?
You know, I've broken a few down in my time.
I'm pretty sure I think you and I broke down a door once.
But I think the one that you and I broke down, I think the people actually put a claim in with the city, and it was taken care of.
Really? I thought they gave us permission to break down the door.
The owners?
Yeah, because they were there.
I don't remember. Like you said, there's been so many.
Yeah, well, I try to break down my own door every day.
Yeah, you know, if it's a search warrant or something like that, I'm going to say no. But you know, exigent circumstances. If you're acting in good faith, there have been times where we've tried to force entry into a house, like for a welfare check. A family member called about a elderly parent that they haven't heard of, you know, which is unusual, and we've done welfare checks by trying to force entry into the residence. And there's only a couple times that I know of where people actually put in a claim, to get the damage, where we might have been a little at fault, but not completely at fault, but we took care of the damages.
Right, so I could totally see it if we went to the wrong house and broke down your door, that we'd be paying for that, yeah. So versus, I know that if I was hurt inside a house and you broke down my door, I wouldn't be trying to charge you for it, but, I would just be happy you came in and saved my butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
kind of like that.
I wonder how that affects the fire department. I haven't asked any of my fire department buddies yet, but I know they break down a lot of stuff. So, how do they, if your house is on fire, not going to probably charge the fire department for saving your house. So,
no, I'm thinking they're gonna attach the door damage to the fire damage.
To the fire damage,
so,
yeah. When they cut through your roof with a saw.
Yeah, and if it burns down to the foundation, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, it's like you're even. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that's.
I think where that comes into play, though, I mean, it's actually not a bad question because I think, especially for a lot of landlords, they may rent to someone of criminal character that they really didn't know about. And the police independently have all these complaints from neighbors and end up getting a search warrant and using the key or that large iron ramming instrument on the door and shatter the door in the entryway, when they make entry.
Right.
that's something that really, the landlord ought to be going after the tenants. But if they're deadbeat tenants and in custody, he's probably not going to get anything. So a landlord might.
Go ahead. I was going to say, when you go on a call like that, usually don't you try to work with the management at the place or whatever to get some kind of key so that we don't have to force entry?
Oh, by all means. But
unless it's a violent deal.
Yeah, if it's something of high risk, we're not going to do that, or if it's exigent circumstances. But, when at all possible, especially for locations where there's actually a manager or a landowner on scene, then it makes it easy. But, a lot of owners of properties live out of state from where the property actually is, and it's just not possible.
Right. We'll see. Ed claims he's online, but I'm trying to call him.
That's a good point. When you rent property, you're actually responsible. You sign leases stating that you're responsible for the property, and if your actions cause the police to come on there lawfully and ram your door or break a window to gain access, I'm thinking that's the responsibility of the tenant.
I would assume it is, or I would assume any damage to the apartment is, or the building, or whatever you're renting. Right. And you punch a hole in a wall, you're responsible for that. If the police have to break down the wall because you're a crack dealer, you're responsible for that.
Yeah.
So, all right, we'll move on to the next question. Let's see here. So, now this is actually a question that I think we might have to do a little bit more research on. Can a cop browse my phone if I'm arrested? So you get pulled over, you get arrested, your phone is there, it has all tons of information in it. Can you go through what's on that phone?
I'm going to say yes. If the phone's used in as part of the crime or the incident, then it becomes evidence. And we talked about that, I think, last week, like, say, with the BART incident. All these people that want to pull up cell phones and start taking, video or photographs, that phone instantly becomes evidence. So we collect it.
I mean, let's say you pull me over and you arrest me for, I don't know, whatever. Some stupid thing that's not going to be, let's say I get up in your face and you take me for whatever, obstructing justice, 148, whatever you want to do. So it's not technically, that phone is not part of a crime unless I hit you with it. So would you, can you really go through the phone? I mean, I don't see why I would have the right to go through that phone if it wasn't actually part of the crime, if you weren't calling somebody or if it was text messages coming in from all your, crackhead buddies or whatever. I still don't know if really? Have you? I guess the question is I don't know. I don't know if we need a lawyer.
I'd say for the most part,
what's
if
that
it didn't have anything to do.
Len,
yeah, I know.
Len Tillum. Let's call Len.
That's it. We should get him on the show.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Then we'd really know.
Dude, he's a pretty straight up guy. He might be interested in doing that, just ask some of these legal questions, because this is a pretty good one. But, my answer right now is if it's got something to do with the stop, then I'm going to use it to my advantage. If I think the guy is jacking me around with information, I'm going to look in the phone. I mean, a lot of guys have mom, dad listed with phone numbers, and I'll call mom and dad and find out, exactly who I have stopped or why they were driving mom or dad's car at, 3 a.m.
Right.
And,
now,
for those purposes, to confirm what someone may or may not have told me, then I'm going to use it.
Right, but most of the time, if you ask somebody, "Hey, can I check out your phone?" and what are they going to say? Yes,
they're going to say, "Go ahead."
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize that 99% of the time, all you have to do is ask, and most people are totally open to be, because they either are completely idiots and don't know that they're going to get, into trouble for something that they just don't think that they're committing any crimes. And then, B, you've got just people that don't care or don't know. And I think, I don't know. I mean, I know we have a lot of questions that come in here about rights, and I think we have a couple tonight about what you're, obligated to do when you're pulled over versus what, and I think we have to sort of tiptoe around those a little bit. But then again, there are certain things that you have to do, and there's other things that maybe you don't have to do.
Well, let me ask you this. How many times have you stopped a guy at 2 a.m. who doesn't have any lawful business being where he's at, and you've collected his wallet and gone through his wallet, either for ID or emergency contact numbers or anything else?
Right.
You know, the cell phones or iPhones are almost an extension of having a wallet.
Right.
And there's nothing that prohibits us from looking through a wallet unless we don't have justifiable cause to do so. So the phone, I think, falls into that same category.
You look at a phone. I mean, a phone in some cases, or in many cases, I know with my phone, it links into literally your entire life. It links into Facebook. It links into your email. It links into videos and pictures you've taken. And God, you know, we all know criminals love to take pictures of the stuff that they're doing. You could have a whole case sitting in a phone.
Well, if I take a guy's phone, take a picture of him with his own phone and put on his Facebook account, can't talk right now, being arrested, you know, I might get into some trouble for that. But, you know,
yes,
instead of saying...
I do believe you would be in some trouble.
You know, at Samioni's having grilled shrimp, you know, at Starbucks having coffee.
Getting arrested. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Right. Hey, hang on just a second. My partner's calling in. Hang on. You there, Brett?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, it's nice. It's nice for you to join us back now.
No, I'm working while I'm on my day off, so.
Oh, that's good. That's even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, so, yes. So to sum it up, can a cop browse my phone if I'm arrested? So that question is pretty... That question deals with arrest. So I think a lot of people have asked the same question about, can a cop browse my phone on a traffic stop? And I do believe I have heard and seen news stories about this out there where cops have specialized phone readers where they're actually downloading information off the phone at traffic stops. And I got to tell you, first, I don't think we'd ever do that. But secondly, I'm assuming if those stories are correct, that's kind of strange to me.
That's I mean, if you're asking me, that borders on invasion of privacy.
Right.
You know, especially on a traffic stop. You know, why are you stopping the guy? If you're stopping the guy because he's involved in an investigation for dope sales or something like that, that's entirely different. But
right,
more than likely, you're going to have a warrant to obtain that kind of information. I can't see stopping a guy for running a red light and downloading all the information in his phone, just fishing to see if something's usable there.
Right.
I think that would open the doors for a lot of legal problems.
Going court on that.
Yep.
Oh man, I mean that would just be nothing but problems. Well, maybe we'll get some other opinions on that through the grapevine too. All right, so the third question is going to be: if you are pulled over by a police officer, what is the minimum required level of compliance? And that's another interesting question. It has, I mean, I guess the question is what is it? Is there a minimum level of compliance? I guess you don't need to technically comply at all.
Well, if you don't, you're going to go to jail.
But that would be level 1. No compliance equals go to jail. Maybe this should say, what is the minimum required level of compliance to not get arrested?
Well, I mean, you don't have to say anything to the cop. You know, I'm going to walk up and I'm going to say, hey, do you know why I stopped you? And you could just look at me and stare with me with a blank stare, and that's fine if you don't want to talk to me or you hate cops. But when I ask you for your license, registration, and proof of insurance, you're expected to provide that to me. And if you don't, then we're going to have a bigger problem. And if you do, then I'm going to walk back to my car and write the ticket and then come back. I'm going to explain to you what the ticket's for and when your court date is, and that your signature is not an admission of guilt, but a promise to appear and take care of the matter with the court. And I'm going to point where to sign, and you sign your name. You don't have to say a word to me. But if you fail to comply with that and refuse to sign the citation, then you're going to end up in the back of the patrol car getting booked for something stupid, and it's because you did not comply. So
right.
I'd say the basic level of compliance would be acknowledging why you get stopped and providing the information requested, being your ID, your registration, and your insurance. And if a cop asks you a question for a lawful reason, like, is this your current address? because a lot of people don't update their address. That's a reasonable question for an officer to ask. And if someone wants to be stupid and play the do not answer game to where you're interfering with the officer affecting his duties, then that opens up a door for another whole charge. So
right. So
the answer to that is answer the cop in the questions that he asked pertaining to the stop, provide the information, sign the ticket, and you'll be on your way. And if not, then you're going to be on your way in the opposite direction.
Yeah, where you weren't planning on going that evening. All right, let's see here. Fourth question. Do passengers need to provide ID? Can they search your car? Do you need to answer their questions? So that is actually part of this first. Let's roll that into this other question. So let's just read this. If you are pulled over by a police officer, what is the minimum required level of compliance? We answered. Do passengers need to provide ID? Can they search your car? And do you need to answer their questions? So let's do passengers need to provide ID?
I would say not unless asked.
Okay. So
the car you pull over for speeding at 4 p.m. in commute traffic that's posing a hazard to all the other motorists, and I'd say no. The car you pull over at 2 a.m. in a neighborhood, obviously without business for being there, then yeah, I'm gonna identify the occupants and fill out FI cards or field interview cards so that we know why these people were in that neighborhood on that date and time.
Right.
So the one at 4 a.m. really wouldn't be lawful unless the cop had a reason to ask. The one at 10 where there's suspicious circumstances involved, then yes, they would be required to show ID.
So it's really based per situation on the occupants' attitudes or attitude problems, other extenuating circumstances or issues that are going on in the neighborhood that they're in. But the answer, let's just jump back into this. So basically, we're back. Jim decided to fall out of his house or boat, and Ed has joined us. So welcome, Ed, I think.
I know. Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, you're good. Okay.
Yeah, I'm reading some of the show notes.
If we lose one more person in this show tonight, I'm just going to shut it off and run away. So to go back to the last three questions that we had, and Ed, to bring you up to speed, basically we had a set of questions that if you're pulled over by a police officer, what is the minimum required level of compliance? We got that solved. Do your passengers need to provide ID? Jim said yes. Something like, or I'll shoot you. And then can the cops search your car is what we're up to now. So, Jim.
Hey, I'd like to hear Ed's. That's actually a good question on the passengers. I'd like to hear Ed's take on that.
Well, when I was in there, if they were not wearing their seatbelts, they're in violation of some law, or there were some furtive movements in the back seat when you were pulling them over and you had reason to identify them, yeah, you could ask for their ID. But other than that, it was kind of shady then. Of course, things have changed so much in the last 10 years that it's almost you can check their ID for no apparent reason at all. It seems like.
I was telling Brent, if you stop a car at 4 in the afternoon for speeding with a carload of people in it, you're not going to be inclined to identify the passengers. You're dealing with the moving violation. But at 2 a.m. with a carload of idiots, obviously, that don't belong in that area, and you stop the car, then you pretty much have a right to identify who's cruising the neighborhoods that time of morning.
Yeah, especially if your driver comes back without a license and all that, and you need to find somebody with a license and all that. But where I used to work, you would get frowned on if you went 29 on 5, 3 in the morning, and everybody else was down paper.
That's a totally different problem.
I used to get whacked for that all the time.
Jim would happily run out all 40 of those people.
I used to try to too, but I used to get chewed out quite often.
Poor dispatcher.
That's about the time all the dispatchers got happy when MDCs went in the cars.
Oh man, no kidding. All right, so can the cops search your car?
If he's got legal reason.
Okay,
yeah.
So what's a legal reason of why I could search your car? Well, God knows with your car it could be anything.
I pull you over. You don't have a license or ID, and I'm going to search your car, primarily the glove box, front compartment, to see if there's registration or proof of your identity.
And parole.
Yeah, parole. That's a whole different ballgame.
Because then you pretty much you've lost all your rights to everything.
Yeah, a lot of terms of parole or probation, you're subject to search and your vehicle and your where you reside.
Or you establish he doesn't have an ID. He doesn't have an ID. You can actually tow his car per what used to be what CVC it was 26702 or something. You could detain him for up to 3 hours to find his to actually take him to the station and fingerprint him so you can get his ID, and you could tow his car under that authority. I forgot what the authority was, but we never did it there because we didn't have time for that kind of stuff.
That's if you can't, if the person could not provide ID, right?
Right.
So you don't know who the heck the person is.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they don't want to tell you, or they tell you and it's not true, or they don't have ID, right? So
you go down the road where they give you two different social security numbers.
Right.
The driver's license comes over dispatch, doesn't match his eye color, hair color. You're playing that game all night long.
Yeah, pretty much like any time anybody pulls Jim over.
Exactly.
Good answer.
The whole thing comes down to, with everything else, I mean, these are all good questions, but it's all probable cause. The guy you pull over at 4 p.m. and you say, hey, can I search your car? And if he says no, then you really can't unless you have probable cause to do so. If you stop a car and you smell marijuana in there and I ask the dude, hey, dude, you got dope in the car? And he says, no. Can I search your car? And he says, no, I'm searching the car. He's going to come out. He's going to get cuffed. He's going to get stuffed in the back of my car, and I'm going to search his car legally because I smell marijuana.
Right. Based on your experiences with marijuana? I mean, training
and experience.
Right.
Yes.
Hey,
No,
Jim,
Mark,
is that an infraction now? Driving with marijuana in the car is it a misdemeanor or what?
No, it's an infraction.
Yeah.
Still an infraction?
Yeah, anything less than an ounce or less.
Yeah, I'll be amazed if it's even a law anytime soon.
Yeah. I'm wondering with the medicinal marijuana in California now, how do you guys handle that with the you pull a guy over, he's smoking weed?
Yeah.
Does the impairment factor still fall under DUI?
I don't think you can be smoking weed while you're driving.
No, that medicinal crap, which I think is a big friggin' smoke and mirrors thing anyway, it's clearly states, that's for use in your home for your ailment, not for friggin' Friday night parties or driving down the road or anything else. So
it does
if you got back pain,
yeah,
if you got back pain or glaucoma that's bothering you on a Friday night, make sure you're at your house and not partying with a bunch of other people. Because when you pull out that little medicinal card and wave it in front of my face, it doesn't mean nothing.
Have you see a lot of those?
I apparently fall off the planet.
Yeah. And
oh, there we go.
Are you there?
It's delayed answers by
very
Jim.
seldom is it. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, go ahead. What? You said you saw him or no?
Yeah, very seldom is it older people that actually have, real ailments. It's friggin' young kids that are in high school that are claiming they're half blind. They have arthritis or whatever. It's BS.
I'm half blind driving a car. Here's my card.
And I have really bad arthritis.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the last part of that question is, do you, as in the driver of the car, need to answer any questions that the cop asks?
I kind of already answered that in that previous question. You can keep it to the bare minimum, but if the cop asks you questions like what's your name, and you have your you're holding his driver's license, and the picture doesn't look anything like him, you have a right to ask him, hey, what's your real name? And if the guy doesn't answer, then he's jacking you around, which opens other doors, like I explained before.
But let's say on most of your stops, do you base part of your stop on the attitude of the driver?
Always.
So if the guy doesn't talk to you at all, it's pretty much going to probably be not a very good contact. That
goes out of the realm of a normal car stop.
Right. Yeah, usually people have a lot to talk to us about.
Yeah, they do.
Openly. Usually in loud voices.
Yeah.
But, I mean, with the cars I've stopped, you've made thousands of car stops, I guess it comes down to, attitude and not lying, I think is the biggest issue. So many people just straight up just lie right from the start.
Well, everybody lies, and those are the ones that get tickets. But,
right.
If you're a good cop, you develop the ability to sense when someone's being straight up with you based on their mannerisms or how they're talking. And there's actions that you consider normal on a car stop. You stop the car, the first thing you're going to hear when you walk up there is, "What did I do, officer?" And then you'll tell them, "Hey, I stopped you for this. I need to see your license, registration, proof of insurance." The real sharp guy that's with it, will say, "Hey, it's in the glove box. Can I open the glove box up?" Because he knows officers are worried about their safety. Or some dude might be fumbling around in the center console, but he's complying with what you're asking. The dude that's just staring at you with hate and not reacting to what you're saying, that causes red flags to go up, and you treat it accordingly.
Right. All right. So Ed, do you have anything to add or no?
Yeah, well, it's the same thing where you walk up and you ask the guy for his license, and he starts fumbling around, pretending he's looking for it in his wallet. "Oh, wait a minute, maybe it's in my other pocket." You know full well where your license is at if you got one. The guys just delay games and all the identification games and that nonsense.
Yeah,
I like it where you say, "Hey, you have a driver's license," and their eyes immediately go up and to the left, and then their first thing is and then you're getting ready for the BS to spill out of the mouth. It's almost comical.
Yeah, it really is. If you could only remember all the stories and lies you get all the time you make car stops, you could write a book on it.
Maybe we should.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's just like, that's God, the stories that could be told. Excuses when you get pulled over, the book. So,
speaking of which, there is a book called CopTalk with that very topic in there, 288 pages, written just for you so that you don't have to be talked about on this show. And if you send any good question, Brent's going to send you a free copy of the book, which retails for, Brent?
A lot.
19-something, 29, whatever. He'll send you a free book.
I'm glad you're doing the pitch for that.
I don't do the finances, so I'm lost.
It's more in one spot than the other. That's the cost of the book.
What is it, 25, 29, 19? What is it now?
I think we have a special on the site for 19 something.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't think we ever took down the special from Christmas.
Let's keep it rolling. A few more months, it'll be Christmas again.
Yeah, it really cuts down the amount of work I need to do on the site.
God, man.
All right, so the last question in here is a good one. How can you verify the identity of someone who claims to be a police officer? I would assume this is not the fully uniformed guy in a marked car that comes up, badge and the whole deal, but I know we've had issues with that too. So that's a good question. Whoever wants to start it, go ahead.
It's a little dicey with some of the headlines that you're reading. All peace officers are required to carry their police ID on their person, and I usually keep mine in my wallet in my police vehicle. But you're required to have that, not just a badge with your name on it. If someone says, "Hey, what's your ID?" and you point to your badge, it's right there, jackass. That doesn't cover it. You're required to show your police ID if asked. But there's so many stories, and there was one just last week where another dude was impersonating a cop and had red and blue lights on his car. Yep. And was stopping women at night. I don't know if I would take on someone like that on a dark road and say, "I'd like to see your ID, please." I'd like we talked about on a previous show, drive to a public place, maybe call the local police agency saying, "Hey, I'm being followed by a car that really doesn't look like a police car, but it's got red and blue lights, and I want to make sure it's a real officer, and go by what the dispatcher tells you." But a lot of these idiots that are impersonating cops are making this a real issue.
So if you were in that situation where somebody's not pulling over, they're driving along, they're on the cell phone talking, which is obviously a problem in California since it's illegal. So hopefully they have a Bluetooth in head somewhere. But when it comes down to it, if you got that call from dispatch and dispatch is saying, hey, are you following so and such, and you say yes, tell them to pull over, would that change your attitude when you go up to the door of the car, or would that be considered something that they should have done, that person in the car?
It's not going to change my attitude. I mean, I can understand after, if dispatch comes on and says, hey, the unit following a vehicle on whatever Main Street, answer up. And I answer up.
Yep.
The person's uneasy that you're not an officer. We're going to tell them to pull over at the next public lot, or whatever.
Right.
And I'm going to tell dispatch when the dude isn't pulling over, hey, I've got a slow failure to yield. The person isn't going to be doing 100 to get away from me. The person's going to be driving normal, but not stopping. When they jack the speed up, then that becomes an entirely different.
We call that a clue. Yeah.
Yeah, we would call that a clue, and ignorance isn't a factor in the law. So if they're going to be that stupid, they got what they got coming. But
I gotta get away.
the guy driving normal, he's going to be treated a little differently by the officer because we want to know, hey, why isn't this dude stopping?
Well, it is. It's an interesting problem because starting this year we have 3 brand new looking police cars. So. Yep. It's not the old school Crown Vic anymore. It's 3 totally different looking cars. So maybe some people are just not going to understand. I mean, I would hope that if it has a light bar and it says police on the side that you're going to pull over. But, then again, a lot of these unmarks and some new rules in California, at least here, about vehicle colors, these cars are becoming more and more undercover looking and can still run traffic and do all that type of stuff. So it's an interesting problem. Maybe we'll see more of that.
What is it? The SO running 3 different kind of cars?
No, but Chevy has the new Caprice. Ford has a brand new Interceptor-looking car, that doesn't look like a Crown Vic, and these chassis are getting smaller, and the Charger. So there's 3 different styles of car that people aren't used to really seeing.
Right.
So I could see it. I could see it becoming I can see our tickets going way up because nobody's going to know their cop cars on the street, but then B, I can see that people aren't going to know that those are cop cars. I mean, I saw an all silver cop car yesterday. So that's not normal. And it used to be that California, clearly you had to have some kind of white on the door and or white vehicle to do traffic, and now that rule is no longer valid. So it's just one of those changes.
A lot of this almost pertains to what I said earlier, the time of day. During broad daylight, you're not going to be as worried about it, especially if you're a motorist being pulled over. But at night, in remote areas, then, there should be heightened awareness.
But, I mean, there's undercover cars, and there's trucks with, police trucks. There's all kinds of different things. So, you just gotta play it out and, not be an idiot, I guess, is what it comes down to. You have to, understand what's going on and hopefully not try to, hand us your medical marijuana card as your ID.
Exactly.
Get out of the car and rush the officer.
Don't ever do that. I made that mistake as a kid. Not rushed them, but walked up to the car and I almost got my butt shot.
Quickly ordered him.
I got a ticket for that. Not for the walking up there, but for being an idiot.
Right.
That was a long time ago.
And you're still an idiot.
Yeah, pretty much. The only bigger idiot's the guy who's not here, Mark. So, do we want?
So, what's he? Is he enjoying the luxury of his new mansion?
I don't know. Who knows?
No, he's in some contest tonight. He's in a cross-dressing contest, and they've got the best leg contest or something. I don't know.
My last night of vacation spent in a cross-dressing contest.
He should do pretty well in that.
Yeah, you would think. I think he'd be a pro.
I'm just saying.
So I guess for tonight we can cut this show a little bit short. I'll try to patch this thing together as well as I can because of the Skype issues, which thank you very much, Skype, but that's what you get for free. And then maybe what we'll do is... we've got another week in between shows, but depending on if Mark ever wants to rejoin us, I guess we can set up another time for maybe next week, or we'll just go back to the normal schedule after that. Yeah.
I've got a big race this weekend up in Nicholas, so Monday's going to be real tight for me. So, I think this will work as a show, and let's look at 2 weeks from now.
All right. Well, then we'll catch everybody 2 weeks from now.
And if you're an Iron Maiden or an Iron Warrior or an Iron Star,
how did I know that was coming?
Hope you got the toenails painted correctly without too many jarring.
I got some goofball work. He's got a Honda Goldwing. He thinks he's God's gift to motorcycles.
I don't know about. Yeah, that's Iron Maiden was a cool band, but I'd say Iron Warrior sounds better.
Because of the show and Ed, every time a Goldwing passes me on the freeway, I do think of the Iron Warrior. So
that's like
we only allow American bikes.
That's the most convoluted thinking.
Yeah.
No, you hear a Harley go by in, and it rattles the windows shut, but a Goldwing goes by in, and it's like a whoosh of air, and it's like, God, that doesn't even sound like a motorcycle.
Oh God. Well, Ed, would you like to?
Man, those were real good questions tonight. I hope we're able to send some books out to those that sent in, and even more so, I know you've sent quite a few books out, Brent, to guys that have written in. If anyone's taken the time to read the book, we'd appreciate getting a note back on what you thought of the book and the content.
Yeah, we'll also attempt to be a little bit more on time with these shows so that people know they're showing up, because I know in iTunes, I won't say if you as a listener, but as us, if we miss enough shows, it will lock out that podcast, and then people have to refresh it. So definitely something to think about when we're doing these shows. So we'll try to be a little bit more on time. Maybe we'll actually have Mark show up. I don't know. Maybe if you hate Mark, you could just write in to me and we could petition to get rid of him.
Could I get that address, please?
all comments can be set via the site anonymously.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we'll see everybody in 2 weeks, and we'll try to get our act back together so we actually can get out good information. Maybe not have Mark here anymore, and hopefully hand out a bunch more books.
Excellent. Hey, thanks for your interest and your questions, and for joining us on the Perfect 36.
Yeah, that almost perfect because Ed is here.
That's right, almost.
So
one side's better than the other.
Ed would know what we're talking about if you listen to the first part.
I'm in Utah tonight, so I'm being a good boy.
Utah.
Yeah.
I won't ask. You know what? We'll save that till after I stop recording. So we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
Take care. Be safe.